It was little more than a year ago that a puppy was brought to the shelter for homeless animals on New York's Upper East Side. At the same time, there was a young man named Tony Schwartz, who lived alone in an apartment on the west side of town. And Tony decided that what he wanted most in life at this moment was a dog.
The CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. Today, the actual story of a dog's life, as shared and recorded on a portable recorder by Tony Schwartz.
It was February 3rd, 1956, when Tony Schwartz appeared at the information desk of the animal shelter to ask for a dog. An ordinary, plain, everyday dog.
You have to sign an application here, and you go in and look at the dogs, and you select something you see, and you come out, and you sign a release on it, and your name and your address. When you come out here, you have to show identification of some kind, and we fill this out for you. You pay $3 and make out a license certificate, and you take the dog home with you.
Tony was passed on to an attendant who took him downstairs to the room where the dogs are quartered. On the way, Tony explained he was looking for a nice, quiet, ordinary dog. In thinking about a dog, Tony hadn't thought about a particular dog, just a quiet companion to curl up at his feet as he sat in his armchair. A dog, that's all. But it wasn't that simple. Here there were lots of dogs. Which dog would it be? Finally, he saw one that he thought might do. But would this puppy be the one he thought about? What kind of a dog was it, anyway?
This is a wire-hair terrier cross. He's about 2 months. He was brought in here by a lady that couldn't keep him in the house. There were some restrictions there. So she brought him in, and I'm pretty sure we'll get a home for him very soon.
Is it really a male?
Oh, no, this is a female. My mistake. I keep calling him he's, but it's really a female. She's really a female, I should say.
Tony decided to take him, or rather her. A couple of hours had gone by, and he was late for work. But the dog needed a physical examination before they could go home.
Well, the most important thing to do is to have a shot of antiserum immediately, providing we find your dog in perfect health. So we'll examine him, look him over in every detail, take his temperature, examine the membranes of the mouth, and auscult his heart, see if he has any congenital heart disease, see if his lungs are congested at all, or if there's any signs of pulmonary disorder. We'll look her over and see that she's completely healthy in every respect as far as we are concerned. The serum contains antibodies. It's very similar to the polio shots in children that have been exposed to the disease. It also protects the dog during that first period that you have it at home, 10 days to 2 weeks. At this stage, I would feed approximately 4 times a day. The requirements are very high for protein and vitamins, so we advise meat, milk, and eggs primarily. This can be varied at times with whole fish, fillet of whiting, haddock, things of that sort.
Was he adopting a dog or a baby? Physical examinations, protective shots, special diets? Well, finally that was over. He could take his dog home after he got the license.
All dogs owned or harbored in the city of New York must be licensed regardless of the age. You must purchase a license as long as you harbor a dog. The license costs $3 per year. The dog year is from May the 1st until April the 30th of the following year. I'd like to know sex, breed, age, and color, and any markings, and the name and address of the owner.
Tony filled out and filed the proper form and gave the man $3. In return, he received a metal tag with a number stamped on it, M7953. Now, what came next? Nothing. It was hard for Tony to believe that he was now free to take his puppy home. As soon as they left the shelter, Tony felt the small animal in his arms begin to shiver. The weather was warm, or maybe the street frightened him. Tony decided the best thing to do was to get her home fast.
I want 425 West 57. Sorry, sir. We don't take dogs in this cab.
Okay, thank you.
Well, if that's the way it was, he'd have to take a bus.
Sorry, mister. No, we don't take any dogs.
That left the subway. But a subway guard told him the same thing. So, Tony carried a trembling puppy 2 miles through crowded streets to his apartment. He finally set her down in the middle of the living room floor. She began walking around the room, sniffing at almost everything. Tony had a vague sense something was missing. Something was wrong. Maybe she was hungry or thirsty. Maybe she had... Well, Tony felt he needed professional help. He'd have to skip work today. He picked up his puppy and headed for the neighborhood pet shop. But on the way, Tony met his landlord in the elevator.
Look, I hope that dog is housebroken.
Tony hoped so, too, but he'd have to worry about that later. He went out into the street carrying the puppy in his arms.
That's a baby. Look at that sweet little baby. What's his name?
A name? Well, Tony hadn't even thought about a name. How do you name a dog? Well, he'd find out later.
He's a cute dog. How come you didn't cut his tail?
Clip her tail? What was that all about? Why should anyone want her tail to be clipped? And how do you housebreak a dog? Finally, they reached the pet shop.
I've got this little puppy.
Yeah.
What do I need for it? Do I need a bed or anything?
Well, first of all, is the puppy clean? He hasn't got any fleas on him or anything like that, has he?
No.
If he wasn't clean, why, you can give him a dry bath. You understand? That would take the odors away on the dog, on the puppy, and keep the puppy clean. Then, of course, you need a little collar for him. You want to break him into a leash and collar, which is very important. And I can give you a little leash and collar. Now, of course, you need a feeding schedule, too. And I've got one here. Here's your little feeding schedule. You can read it over. If you want to ask me any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Do I need a bed?
Well, you need a bed, yes. I would suggest a little basket with a little pillow in it. And you need a couple of dishes, one for water, one for food. Toys are very good. As far as toys are concerned, you can give them a little...
Tony left with a
mouse
bundle of
or
supplies,
something
a sense
soft
of relief,
that the pup will
and
get
an
a
empty
good
wallet.
kick out of when he...
Arriving home again, he prepared lunch for the puppy. Well, there was nothing wrong with her appetite. And as soon as she finished eating, Tony decided to walk her right away. But when he tried to put the new collar and leash on her... Apparently, walking beside her lord and master didn't mean a thing to the dog. Tony had to pull her out on the street. He didn't even have a name to call her by. Now, that was the next problem. What would it be? Tony decided to find out how other people named their dogs.
I figured I'd use the name Louie.
My dog's name is Capers. I named him after a horse, which we have.
My dog's name is Boo Boo. Boo Boo the Woodlands, and her name came from our place in the country, plus the fact of Boo Boo is known as chocolate, and that's her color. And my other poodle, which is the same color, and she's called Jolly of Jura.
Well, she's a little broad in the beam, so we named her Fanny.
Sir Lancelot. That was his pedigree name. Of course, it's been shortened. He's Lance now, or Lancey, as the case may be.
Lucky?
How'd you name him?
Some neighbors said, oh, what a lucky little dog to have in such a nice home. My wife says, that's enough. Lucky's his name. I said, have it luck. I wanted to give him a different name, but she gave him Lucky. Can't win from a woman. So it's Lucky. I wanted to call him Buster or something like that, but he's a nice-looking animal.
His name is Hollyhouse Philippe, the real French name, so we call him Flip Flop.
What is his name again?
Hollyhouse Philippe. We call him Flip Flop.
Peppy. When we first bought him from Gimbel's, he looked like he was more dead than alive, and he laid there in a corner, so I Just figured he has no life at all. We just call him Peppy, figuring that maybe someday he'll grow up to have a little life.
Sinbad. He's a child of sin, and so we called him Sinbad.
Button, because he's as cute as a button.
Timothy or Tara.
Finian's Rainbow.
George.
Demitas.
We called her Susie. We didn't have any children at the time. And when this particular dog...
Tony finally bought a paper-covered book, Naming Your Baby. That evening, he went through the lists of girls' names in the book, trying out each one on his puppy out loud. He was close to the end of the alphabet when he found the name. Tina. Yes, Tina. Tony and Tina. That was it. Now, what about this housebreaking business? Again, Tony sought advice.
If you want to housebreak the dog, I would suggest some scent that we have here for housebreaking a dog.
What's that stuff called?
Well, sometimes it's called fire plug. Very good, very good.
Tony, if the dog makes wee-wee in the house, if you have to make him housebroken, you have to slap him with a newspaper. Then if he doesn't do it again, he's housebroken.
I see. And if he does it again, what do?
You slap him again and put him out. And then if he does it the next time, swap him out and do the same thing. But if he doesn't do it the next time, he's housebroken.
It looked like time and patience were the answers. But while Tony was wondering where he'd get the time and patience, someone again brought up the matter of Tina's tail. Tony never realized